So should I just go ahead and start?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, well, good morning, everybody. So what I'm introducing or what I'm going to show you today is a device called a Synology server. Okay, what you're going to see is the front end of the machine and how it works in relationship to things you do at the RAFU. We're at the point where the current Carrier mail server, it works fine, but we noticed that Carrier has been bought and sold a couple of times, and they are just basically jacking up the price of everything to the point where it's not tenable for a lot of our clients to keep just giving money to them to do mail services. Okay. One of the solutions that Tracy and I have been working on with other clients is from a company called Synology. And Synology, yes, they do mail services, and they do other things with their servers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you the mail first, then we're going to move on to their version of quote unquote Dropbox, then their versions of Google Docs, where you could actually share documents and work on it at the same time. Okay, so this is going to be kind of a very rudimentary presentation, because there's just so much to do, and so much more details that aren't filled in yet from the RAFU, basically how they want to function. So it's just a quick overview. So if everybody's good, let me see a thumbs up, so we'll move on. So can you actually see me on your screen, or?
No.
No.
Oh, okay. How come there's no
I
camera?
thought you were hiding, Tat.
No, I'm not hiding.
You're hiding.
And you have access.
There you are.
Oh, there you are.
And you
How'd
also
do
have
that? I
access
can't turn me on.
to share screen too.
Okay, hang on. Let me kill this light in the back real quick.
How do you turn me on? I can't figure out how to put my picture on.
There should be a video camera somewhere on either the bottom or top of your screen.
Do you have something covering your camera?
Who, me?
That's true.
No, Gail.
Oh, yeah.
There
That's
you go.
something
Oh, yeah,
different.
you go.
Okay.
Got it.
And
All
I
right,
guess
so how do I?
checked in.
So towards
Okay.
the bottom, there's a share screen button.
All
you
right,
can hit that button and it'll share your screen.
here we go. Desktop. Here we go. Okay, so all right, so I just got to move some stuff around. All right, so I assume you guys see my desktop, right?
Yes.
Or do you see
Yes.
me?
Hold on.
Desktop.
This stuff.
Okay, so basically, I got moved. Okay,
Oh, there we go.
yeah, great. The stupid docs. Let me move the docs so we could actually doc, right? Put it on the left, and we won't hide it. All right. So on the front end, so what you will basically see is your standard mail. All right. Obviously, what's happening is this is set up for myself. Okay. So the server. Wait a second. Am I in the? Wait a second here. Yeah, okay. So let me open up this window. So right now, the test server we're running is called Magnus Cassius, okay? Because it's just our test server. That's how the guy named it, all right? So on the front end, that what you will see is just basically your normal mail. So you could use like Apple Mail, you could use Thunderbird. If you were on the PC side, it would be Outlook or whatever mail client you would use. And it basically functions the same way that you're used to currently. Okay, so there's nothing really weird about it. So, you know, you can send mail out, receive mail. In this case, if I create mail, compose a mail, Let's see. Let's see. There's there. Sorry, I don't type that well. So test. So it will just send out when we'll get it. She'll reply to it, but on this case, it will just say like tat@magnuscassius.com. When we switch you guys over, if you guys go over, it'll just be rafu.com. Same email address. So mail-wise, it's very similar to what you're doing now. Same thing applies to like iPhones and iPad. Mail is just mail, so there's no difference there. All right. I'm going to quit out of this. One of the big things about this, the way the Synology works is I could actually go to the web interface. Okay, so in Firefox, I'm going to just open a brand new page for you, and I have the Magnus Cassius server set up. So if you're basically out in the world and you don't have a computer and there's a computer you could get to, you just basically type in this case, it's magnuscassius.com, but it would be rafu.com if you go that direction. So obviously I'll ask you what your name is, type in your password, which I put in already. This is the big key right in here.
Oh,
This is a two-factor authentication, okay? So this is linked to either your email or your phone or a Google app that gives an authentication code. So without this code, you're not going to get past this point. So you can't, so you cannot get to the file server, the file services, the Dropbox services, or even your mail. Okay, so let me grab my phone and punch in the authentication code, because the authentication code changes all the time. So it's not a static code. No, don't call. All right. And all right, so you could write that code down if you want to, but the problem is next time I sign in with the web interface, that code is different. So here we are. So this is the web interface. Okay, if you don't want to use like a mail program, but you could use the web interface, everything is done. This shows you the status of everything that's going on. If there's notifications, your account, if you want to search. But right here, this main menu is basically like the Apple menu item that we're used to on the Mac. If you click on it, you would see, if you want to do a calendar function, if you want to store your contacts, Synology Drive and Mail Plus are the two things we're looking for. So if I click on Synology Mail, it'll take a few seconds to load up. But this is my mailbox. Okay, so let me just scoot that over and I'll bring up the other mailbox for you. So you could actually see both of them are syncing together and working together. So Gwen, did you get that email from me?
yes.
Yeah, can you go ahead and reply? And just
Hold on.
yeah.
Hold on.
So with this, so on the Synology end, if you use Apple Mail, Thunderbird, or Outlook, it all syncs up to the web interface. So both of them are identical. It just looks, it's a web interface versus like a full-blown mail client. Right. So. Okay, set. All right, so that mail will come in when it comes in. Okay, so
Okay.
I'll just hit the refresh, see if I can speed it up. And no, yeah, so oh, okay. So full functionality in terms of things that were sent. So this was the email I sent this to Gwen out of Apple Mail. So it records everything, and everything that you're used to is there. Now, one of the questions that I know you guys are going to ask is like, hey, what about my current Rafu mail? All the stuff I have on my account right now. Well, it's not an issue, because what happens is with the Synology mail, the Synology server, we basically, Mickey will pick a go day, and basically on that day or before that day of the transition, we would configure all the mail clients, and we would tell the Synology server, suck in all your current mail. So all your current mail on the current Curio mail server gets sucked in to the corresponding account. So in, let's say, Mr. Tokunaga's case, all the mail that's sitting in Mr. Tokunaga's inbox, outbox, sent mail, all the folders he's created on the server, all that gets replicated over. So when we switch over, when Mr. Tokunaga starts his mail the next day, hey, nothing has really changed, because all his mail is there, all his folder structure, all the mail that he sorted into the folders exists in that space. Okay, so interesting. How can we just refresh? All right, interesting. Yeah, well, yeah, I should have replied already, but yeah. Okay, we'll just let it sit, and we'll go back. Okay, so we'll hit the Apple menu item again, and we'll go to Synology Drive. Okay, and I'm going to close off my mail on the left-hand side here, so we have some more room to actually do things. All right, so the Synology Drive is quote unquote Synology's version of Dropbox. Okay, it is their version of Dropbox. It works, and it works very well. All right. With that being said, there are two parts to this Dropbox function. Well, there's that. Okay, the first part is called My Drive, which is right here. My Drive basically means for the individual. So if Gail wants to store her personal stuff where no one you could look at it, she would put it into My Drive. And how easy is it to move stuff? There you go. You just basically drag and drop, and it gives you a countdown of when the file will actually populate her personal folder on the drive. Okay, now because the internet is sucky, yeah, because I'm doing this Zoom, yeah, partial. Yeah, let's do a smaller file. Yeah. Partial failure. Oh, the DS store. Okay, that's fine. So basically on My Drive, you could just shove whatever you want there. Okay, and the data that resides here is actually backed up and is synced to your computer. So if you delete it out of here, it's gone. All right. One of the other features is if you just double click on it, the Synology has software that's built into it. It will actually read the file and display it when it displays it. Oh, so here's this one screenshot of things that I was doing. Folder wise, same thing. So you can actually see stuff on the fly. All right. Now, the bigger thing is this folder called Teams. This is where basically Rafu as a company will live. Okay. So within the Teams folder, the stuff that you store on, was it Dropbox or Google was it Google Cloud? Like
Google
these,
Drive.
yeah, Google Drive, like these folders. Okay, we could actually recreate these folders in the raw food world and organize. So you could have your English editorial, Japanese editorial, things that you guys are currently working on, things that you need to archive. All right. So same as before, all you do is basically drag and drop folders, or just create folders, and away you go. As you're seeing, this information is being uploaded to this a SharePoint. Okay, so 15 seconds. Let's wait for this to finish up then. Okay, so you can see it's working right
Okay,
up in
Kat,
here.
Kat.
Yes.
So these folders, since we're using Google Drive, how much space will we have for the individuals and for the raw food English and raw food Japanese? How much
Okay.
space can we create?
Okay, how much space do you have to store stuff? Basically, it is a limit. It's a function of how big of a hard drives that will be purchased to put it into the Synology server. Okay, so there are 4 bays. So if you put 4 1 terabyte drives in, you get 3 terabytes of storage, and your Dropbox is 3 terabytes. That's the max amount of usable hard drive space that we could allocate to everybody. If we get like bigger hard drives, like a 6, like 4, 6, that's 24 gigs. So one hard drive is used for emergency backup, which runs. So now we have 24 gigs of storage. Well, your Dropbox could be 10 gigs, 20 gigs. It doesn't really matter, because it's just, everything is dependent on how big of a hard drive, how big hard drives you put into the thing. So like right now, how big is your Dropbox?
Well, our Google Drive was, what was it, 3.5 gigabytes?
Okay, well,
So this would be a huge amount of space and gives us a lot of room to archive.
right.
Yeah, and Mickey, I'm not sure exactly what's going on with Google Drive, but it seems like if people's personal Google Drive gets full, they have difficulty accessing the Rafu Google Drive. Does
Yeah,
that sound correct? And if we use this, then maybe that problem would
right.
go away.
Right. So if you like right. Okay. So, pardon?
Yes. Oh, I didn't check the inside.
Yoko
Oh,
has
it's
to mute
Yoko on the
herself.
phone. Okay. So like for like your mail server right now. Okay. The Carrier mail server, the data that's on it is roughly about 600 gigs out of a 1 terabyte hard drive. Okay, so 1 terabyte hard drive is kind of like the smallest you could buy. All right, so mail on the Synology server, if we put in like large hard drives, yeah, you guys will have basically storage for like probably like 20 years or so, 30 years before you guys have to consider buying new hard drives or getting larger hard drives. If Dropbox says, hey, you only get like 3 gigabytes, hey, the Synology server, I could say, okay, give them 25 terabytes of storage, and you have basically 25 terabytes of storage where you can put whatever you want on. Okay, the private is not limited. The Teams folder is not limited to whatever size. We can limit it if people say, hey, we're using too much on private stuff, not enough stuff on business or whatever. Yeah, we could say we could limit the user, but on the most part, we don't limit the user, because there's more than enough storage to go around for everybody. Okay, so let me just close that off. Okay, so does that kind of give you guys a kind of like an overview of how this works?
I have a question, Tat.
Yes.
Security wise, we've been using Google, which is never my favorite, but how does the new one, the Synology, compare in terms of security with using Google Drive?
Okay. How's this? This is your machine.
Mhm.
This belongs to the Rafu. Okay. There's nobody else on this machine. No one else is looking at this. Okay. With
Okay.
Google, you have no right to privacy, period. Anything you like Gmail, Google, Google Drive or what, anything related to Google and Amazon,
Mhm.
you have no right to privacy. So they could look at whatever they want, whenever they want. Okay.
Obviously,
machine-
the two-factor authentication helps
Okay.
as well.
Well, the two-factor authentication prevents unauthorized people from getting into the server to look at like all the, let's say these were important data files, okay, which they're not. So let's say today, somehow I stole your login name and your login password, okay? And I decide to log in. Well, it's gonna stop at the two-factor authentication, okay? And right there is like, well, all right, I'm gonna send my authentication code to the cell phone or to his email. If I don't have access to it, I'm not getting in. All right.
And you're talking about an alternate email.
Yes.
Yeah.
An alternate email or even your
Phone,
Rafu
iPad,
email.
whatever.
Or even your Rafu email, because to get to this portion of it, you have to clear all three of the hurdles. Okay. And one of the hurdles is, hey, if the guy stole your computer and has all your information and it's available to him, that, there's, that just basically, you're going to tell me, hey, Tap, my computer was stolen. I need to change the password. So we go in and change your login password. Then no, if they try to log in, well, they're still missing one of the hurdles. Okay. They'll never be able to get in. And with that password change, it changes your email password as well, because they're kind of linked together. And guess what? They're never getting in. So the information they have on your computer is what they have, what they stole. Okay. But they'll never get into the data sitting on the Synology side. Does that kind of make sense?
I understand.
Okay. Yeah. Everybody else, does that make sense to you?
Yes. I do have another question regarding security.
Yes.
One way of getting in is by getting the password and such. Another way of getting it is by clicking some sort of spam email. So in regards to that, is there any security? Is there any layer of security when it comes to emails?
Okay. Oh, great question. Okay. So what happens is with the Synology unit, okay, itself, it has built-in, okay, it has built-in virus protection. It has built-in spam protection, okay? The Synology server and the software is constantly updated and it auto updates. So as fast as somebody releases like a virus definition or spam definition, a whitelist, blacklist, the Synology updates itself. And thus, when it updates itself, it brings the protection to your mail server. Okay. Now, the spam, the spam email attack, click this to open that. Well, that in itself, is more on a user level as well. Hey, the computer, the software, it only catches so much. Okay. We could turn up the security settings to reject anything that's suspicious. Well, when it starts rejecting like real mail from real people, then that becomes an issue. So, some of the responsibility does fall upon the user. The software will kind of look, hey, there's a exe file, executable file on the PC. Well, it'll neutralize it and quarantine it. But every now and then one might get through because it might be a legitimate file. it might be a legitimate file that's not legitimate. And, you know, let's say Yoko gets it. Well, the question is, I know who this person who sent it. I don't know who this person who sent this email. Am I going to click on it or am I going to ask somebody? Right. So, you know, everything doesn't work in a bubble for everybody. You have a phone, pick it up, use it, ask somebody, right? Because I've gotten like emails, like really good spam fake emails from people. And I'm at the, you know, I click on the name of the person who sent it and it tells you, hey, no, it's not this person, but it's some other company, some other, so you already know it's a bad email. Okay. Does that help you, Sophia? Or did that answer your question or did I just talk in
Yes.
circles?
Yes,
Okay.
it does. Thank you.
Anybody else while we're here? Okay, so shall I go ahead and move on? Okay, so I am gonna close all this off. Okay, so I'm not gonna use this as well. All right, now all you Mac users, all right, one of the things about the Synology is once it's set up, do you see this right here? So this is a link directly back to the Synology, their quote unquote file Dropbox function. So, oh shoot, I shouldn't have closed that off because then you could have seen it. I'm sorry. Sign in again. Okay. Here we go. Jeez. Okay. So I sunk my computer up with the Magnus Cassius Synology server yesterday night, and I basically kind of populated files. So whatever I do, this is a direct representation of what's going on the files services side. So this is like your Dropbox interface, all right? So instead of, you don't have to use the web interface, but if I just drop stuff on here, you can see by this little button on here, it is actually syncing, okay? So basically it just sent it up to the Synology and it is technically here. You don't see it right now because the page hasn't refreshed. I'm going to refresh the page. And when it does, yeah. Okay, so that's the file I just dropped in. Do you guys see that? Okay, let me try it again. All right, so here's a file that I want to reside on in the Rafu world so people could work on it. I just drop it onto my Finder, my window. So this is a representation of that. So it went up, the green dot says, hey, it's there already. It's not here because I need to actually refresh the page. Once I refresh the page, this is the file I just sent up. Okay, if you also notice, that file is gone off my desktop. So it exists only in this world. Okay, so if I delete this file, that file is gone forever. And
is there a way to keep both? Is there a way to keep it on your computer and put it in the Rafu realm? Okay,
well, it is a question of management. Okay, and the management section says, if you put everything in this, in the Rafu world, Rafu realm, okay, everybody's able to get to it and to work on it and to share it, okay? But it's in the Rafu realm, all right? so whatever happens in this realm affects everybody who's attached. So like if Gwen for some reason says, you know, I don't want attached, I don't want this file here anymore. This thing is useless. And she just says goodbye forever. And she hits delete. That file is deleted for everybody across the board.
Okay.
Okay.
Good to know.
All right. So it's no different than kind of like the Dropbox, right? If you remove a file, you're removing it for everybody. Is that correct?
That's what I am wondering.
Pardon?
That's what I'm wondering.
So, right, because isn't the Dropbox that the way you're using it is just like a kind of like a central repository of data when things are done?
Yeah, basically. But if I take, let's say, just any file and I drop it into the Google Drive, I still have a copy on my computer, even though there's now one in the Google realm that everybody.
Okay.
access.
So I understand. So to keep a copy on basically on your computer, you just hold down the Option key on your keyboard and
Understood. I get it.
and you just drop it in and it just copies it onto it copies it into the Rafu world. Okay.
Right. Like, for
God.
example, what I tend to do is I tend to keep an archive of daily pages, the PDF files on a computer here, in addition to putting them on the server, just for redundancy, to make sure that we have backups somewhere.
Okay. No, that's reasonable. Yeah.
Over the
But,
course
yeah.
of 118 years, pages tend to disappear, so we try to avoid that.
Right. But that, that's, that is more of a management issue than anything else. But anyways,
I get you. Thank you.
okay. So that file is being sent up and eventually it will appear in my Mac Finder window as the interface. Okay. So any questions? Any concerns?
I think it's more of a managerial thing, is that all of our staff is going to have to know that this exists and how to learn how to use it. Otherwise, that's the problem with Google, is that not everyone could access Google. So after a while, it kind of has fallen back to us just emailing each other back and forth instead of having kind of a repository of our stories. That's one thing where with Michael, it's good because the PDFs all go in the folder and then he pulls them out. But everything else, and I guess photos, but story-wise, it's kind of become, we just email one another.
Right.
So that's all.
Oh,
I
sorry.
do like this setup. I think it's gonna serve us a little better. The Google was very much a stopgap measure when
Yeah, correct.
when we all left the office, and we literally left on a Friday and had to have something working the following Monday, and Google was
Right.
the quickest option. And over the last year and a half, it's done well, but we're about to reach the limit with it. And then of course Google has its own.
And with
limitations.
people, they have reached the limit. I mean, again,
That's
Okay.
my favorite.
Okay. Well, you see,
uh,
well, okay, within this realm, within this the Synology Dropbox, their version of it, there's actually more controls that could be demonstrated and turned on. So like currently, like by Yoko's office, there's that Mac that has like English editorial and Japanese editorial, stuff that's been worked on up till you guys left the office. So technically, all that stuff could get transferred into this environment and is available to everybody to get to. But we could also lock it out in terms of, hey, anything that's in this folder you could only copy it down and you could look at it, but you can't alter it or delete it. Okay. So historically, we could just put all your data, on the system, and everybody has availability to it. Okay. One of the things that Tracy and I are kind of working on or trying to figure out is like, like, I know like for like, guess your Google Drive, you have like an English section and a Japanese section. Okay. So they're like two different things. Is it that you guys want to keep things separate, or do you mind the cross-pollination where like in this folder, there's a folder that says, hey, like Japanese editorial working, English editorial working. Yeah, is that fine? Is that okay?
Yeah,
Or
we'll,
is it-
we'll figure out how to set that up. The way we have it now, some things we share, like the photos folder, like Mario will adjust photos, and then everybody has access to that. Or at the end of a production day, where everybody's done, you know, you put your finished files. We're all putting them into the same folders. So
No, I see. So
I don't
okay.
think that's going to be too much of an issue.
Okay, so all right, so yeah, this is kind of like a very quick overview of the system. Let me see, where did Tracy? Oh, here we go. Okay, so Tracy and I were, one of the other things that comes with this that we will turn on is basically, you guys are familiar with, like, was it Google Docs, right? Where you could collaborate and work on word processing and on spreadsheets together. The Synology supports that. All right. So I don't have, you know, Tracy's not available to sign in, but you can see this is a shared test file. If Tracy was actually logged in, I would see Tracy would have a blue cursor. So I would know where he is in document, and I could just actually keep typing things in while he's doing other things. Within the document, we could also change what can be done to the document as well. The person only has viewing rights. The person has revision rights or comments. You know, they can only write in comments, change this word to whatever word. This is not good. This paragraph is too long. All right. What it's one of, you know, it's a nice feature. It's a free feature. So technically, if you were out and about, you didn't have a computer, and you logged into the Synology web services, you could actually go in there. If there's a document, or you could go in there and just start editing and start typing away. Problem is, you know, you opened up like a 10,000-mile connection from point A to point B, but it's still doable. All right. Now, with this, it's a rudimentary word processor. It's not Microsoft Word. It's not you know, InDesign. It's not PageMaker or whatever have you. But let's say we're done doing this document. One of the features is this: download as. I could download it as a PDF and send it off to somebody, or save it as a Microsoft Word document. So when you send it off to somebody, they could open it up in Word. Because unless they have a Synology server on their end, when they double click and open up the document, it'll just look like garbage. You know, it'll look like gibberish. Okay. So if I save it as a Word document, it should have, it'll ask me, hey, where do I save it to? And you save it, enclose it with the email, send it off. All right. Okay, see. Move this thing down. And this auto saves. Okay, like when you're working on document, auto saves. The Synology is set up to save 8 versions of this document over time. So you could actually go roll back in history and pick up things that you worked on, or if you found out you messed up on something, yeah, you could roll back 1 or 2 versions and work at that point as well. Okay. Any questions about this, or anybody? Nobody?
It will take a while to get used to it, I think.
Yeah.
Playing with it.
Yeah. I mean,
there's not too much of a learning curve there. I'm more than happy to abandon Google, and this seems pretty straightforward. That's a little
So-
reaction from the peanut gallery back there.
So like, Mickey, if you could, you know, Tracy and I were talking about like how many Rafu employees need access in terms of like this Dropbox feature and stuff like that. Okay, so that's, yeah, that's one thing we have to kind of to gauge. The amount of data on it is not that big of an issue. It's just if everybody hammers the server itself, you know, the server we recommended might not have enough processing power to handle like, you know, like 15 employees all editing, all doing stuff on the server simultaneously. So we might, you know, want to tell you to get a server that has a little bit faster processor in it. But other than that, this is kind of the overview. This this unit could basically sit anywhere. You could sit at the Rafu and you guys manage it and take care of it. It's just you guys would probably need to get a faster internet connection. We could deal with it and host it as we're doing the mail server. Yeah, and we'll just go from there. Is that good for everybody?
No, I'm clear.
Okay.
Okay. Are you about done, Kat?
Yeah, I'm done. I have nothing else
Okay.
to say. It's just all
Okay. The FTP function.
okay.
I mean,
The
if we
FTP.
have- if we have large photos that people are sending us,
Mhm.
then we would be using the FTP, right?
Right. I didn't turn on the FTP function on this because, you know, I didn't know how, you know,
That's okay.
right. But yes, the Synology server comes with a built-in FTP software. So basically, the way the machine is set up, the machine the Synology server gets its own SSL, so a security socket layer certificate. So it validates your mail server, your FTP, and other things that you put out on the web. Okay, so with that being said, that auto renews. So one of the issues that I think you'll see less of is the possibility of Rafu mail being rejected across the world. Right now, the Curio mail server has a self-signing security SSL certificate. Okay, it works. To get a real SSL is about like $300 to $400 a year. Okay, and all it is basically a sheet of paper saying, "Hey, yes, this is the Rafu server. Yes, I'm real. I'm on the web. Everything you send to me works, or yeah, I could receive, I could send, trust me." The self-signing certificate works the same ways. There's still limitations. The Synology gives you a real world SSL. So there's no issue with security. There's no issues with people trying to spoof your mail server, okay, or your FTP server and stuff like that.
Okay. Let me change the question.
Okay.
Aereo had, I don't know, about 15, 20 megabyte max on files, something like that,
Right.
through email.
Right.
Does Synology have a max on that? Or, I mean, so we would
Okay.
use the FTP for files of that size.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I'll back it up. We'll back up, then we'll go forward. Okay. The Curio mail server, if you send
Whoops.
email to anybody within the Curio mail server. So let's say you're sending an email to Mickey and to Gwen, Mr. Tokunaga, and anybody within the Rafu universe. Okay, there's actually no limitation on the file size you could send. Okay, so you could send like a 1 terabyte picture if you want to. It will just suck down all the processing time to get the picture from point A to point B. Okay, so on the Curio side, there's no limitation. Now, when you send out like a large file from the Curio to like AOL to Yahoo or Gmail, those company limits what you could, what they will receive. So it's more on their end, okay? They limit how big of a file they could send out of like AOL, how big of a file they could receive within AOL. All right, so if you have like, if you're used to sending like a 1 gigabyte file to like Gwen, and you say, okay, I'm gonna send the same file to Tat on AOL. AOL will just look at you like, no, we're not gonna take it. It's too big. I need a smaller file. But if you send that file to me at on tat@techniques.com, which is a Curio mail server, we have no limitations. I'm able to receive it and look at it. Okay. Now, same with the Synology. We could set the mail to do whatever you wanted to do. So within the Rafu universe, if you email between Rafu employees, you could send as big of a file as you want. But all that means is it just sucks down time for the computer. So it makes everything run slower, but you could do it. Okay. If you want to try to send that same file to the outside world, to Gmail, Yahoo, or whatever, they'll just reject it right on the spot. The file's too big. Okay. Now, if somebody like one of your vendors, they said, hey, do you understand? I'm going to send you a really large file, larger than what AOL or Yahoo could handle, and they send it an email. Well, the Synology will look at it like, hey, it's an email, it's valid, whatever. Even though it has a large picture file, it'll suck it in. Okay. With it being sucked in, it still needs time to process and get that picture onto the mail server so it could get it to you. So that just takes up processing time on the computer. As it works on the mail, hey, it might not be able to do the document sharing or transfer files because, you know, it's a computer, you know, computer work, you know, it'll try to balance it out. But if something is just sucking down more resources until that process is done, then everything else will free up and run faster.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a very technical answer for a very simple question. Okay. Any other questions? Any other comments?
Is it iPhone and Android compatible? Can I read my emails on my phone?
Yes, because it's just a mail. It is a mail interface. So on your Android or iPhone, it's just mail. So it like on your like, say we get the account set up, you would log in as, you know, Sophia@rafu.com, punch in your password, the mail server information, hit go. Then it'll start it'll populate up your phone. Then everything you do on the phone, you know, is basically what you're used to. So.
Okay. And then this is the verification is, are they going to send the verification to my phone too?
No. Okay. So for email, there is no verification.
Okay.
Okay. To get to the actual interface where all the files and this and that are stored, yes, there is a verification code that needs to be sent. With the verification code, because I did it earlier, there's actually a button that says remember this device, and once you click it, you sign on. You might have to re-verify it in like 3 weeks or so, but you know, you're able to work. Okay. But if you let's say you verify it on Safari, then you switch to a different browser like Firefox and you log in, the server recognizes, hey, yeah, this might be Sophia, but this isn't the browser she was working on. Then you have to punch in your verification code again. Okay.
And then I have access to the drive too using my phone. So for example, I want to take a picture with my phone and then I want to put it into the file. Can I just
we're still experimenting with. They have software for the phone to get to this. Okay. And I kind of look at it as like, well, that's great, but what are you going to actually do? That's the question. So on that end, we haven't really experimented on the phone with the drive function that much, because 99% of the people that we they use it. They use mail more than anything else. And when they get down into the file services or the Dropbox services, they're normally on their laptop or their computer. Okay. I mean, it's a great question. We'll experiment. We'll find out if it's, how it looks and how it functions. But
That could be really important, because someone in the field could take a picture of their phone, get it into the box, and in the office or working remotely at home, they could set up the page.
so you're
So
basically,
it'll connect field with people at their workstation, field work and workstation.
okay. Hang on a second. Let me write this down, and Tracy and I will come back with some solid answers for you. So the concern is to access from your mobile device these files and to actually work on them, and also to basically send up pictures and stuff like that.
Sounds right.
Okay.
If people don't have any other questions, again, this is just sort of supposed to give us an idea on the features,
All right.
and not necessarily, we're getting a little deeper than I had intended. Editorial staff, they need to start working on their pages for tomorrow.
Right. Mickey, if since I'm leaving, I just wanted a quick shout out, since next Saturday is 9/11. Rona was asking me what sort of assets we might have for the September 11 kind of coverage. So since I'm not going to be around, I just wanted to throw it out there that any archival imagery, photos, artwork that we might want for 9/11, just something to think about for the Saturday issue next week. So that's all.
Okay. Staff may have to come in and access our in-house server.
Yeah, because I think we have a lot of, maybe there's PDFs of what we did during 9/11. I know Michael shot a lot, Mario shot a lot, I wrote a lot, but none of it lives in the archives that we have, in the old PDFs that it might be a little more difficult to find. That's all I'm saying.
Right.
That's it.
But are they on our the English and Japanese servers that are in?
Yeah, I do not know. And I think now that we have AP, there's going to be some really nice features that we could certainly just go with that. And maybe just reprint some stuff from back then. But just so you're aware, throwing it out.
Right.
That's all. Yeah.
Well, I think someone from editorial may have to come help look at that.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I could look at some, but it sounds like it has to be a team effort.
Maybe that's probably Michael or Mario or would be the ones who were here, so they would know.
Okay.
Mhm.
I mean, JK is actually in-house, so he could actually look at the server.
Okay, I just know that 2001 was that period where we were not fully digital, so
Right.
it'll be more difficult to find stuff. But I
Okay.
know that you've reprinted some things already, so maybe that's the stuff to use.
What's he saying?
Not to be rude.
Sorry,
but-
sorry, I'm sorry to
Oh, no,
take
no,
up- yeah.
I need to go because I need to actually get my daughter and take her to the doctors. Okay, so
Oh.
it's nice talking to you guys. Guys, have a good weekend.
Thanks,
See how it
Dad.
comes. Okay,
Thanks, Dad.
okay, Mickey, we'll talk later. Okay,
All right, perfect.
All right. Thanks. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right, I will stop the recording.
Okay.
Okay.